Good day to all. I'm standing out here just outside the clubhouse. Main entrance is right behind me. I'm standing here on the famous Summit Walk. This famous Summit Walk was built in honor of the 1988 World Economic Summit that took place here at the Toronto Hunt. In here we can see a plaque that was actually placed in honor. The plaque says this walkway was constructed to carry the delegates of the G7 Economic Summit, Sunday 1988. It was a great day for this club. We're entering the clubhouse, and this is your beautiful main entrance of the club. And we're going to head into the Summit Lounge, named obviously after the World Economic Summit. Right behind me here, oops, the camera almost fell. Right behind me you see a picture of the G7. Dignitaries, Mr. Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, Helmut Kohl, Ciriaco Limita, Nobuto Takeshita, François Mitterrand, and of course, Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. Right over the beautiful picture of the G7, it is Mr. Donato's lovely caricatures. And up there, we have the signatures of the dignitaries. Lovely. So today, in honor of the G7, I thought I'd talk about Bordeaux. Bordeaux is one of the most prestigious wine regions in the world. The grapes of Bordeaux are definitely the grapes that you're familiar with. The main three varietals of Bordeaux are Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, and Merlot. That is the origin of those varietals. In addition to those varietals, Malbec, Petit Verdot are added to the wonderful blend of Bordeaux. So technically, most of the wines in Bordeaux, left bank or right bank, are a blend. Also, there's another varietal that people may not be familiar with it being from Bordeaux, but it is Carmenère. And some of you, even when I mentioned Malbec, some of you may be thinking, what, Malbec is from Bordeaux? Absolutely. We know Malbec today as probably a varietal that thrives and does really well in Argentina. And Carmenère, we probably think is a varietal from Chile, but no. The reality and the fact is that they are Bordeaux varietals. But during another world catastrophe, as we're experiencing today, it was in the 1860s where a little aphid called Phylloxera was eating the rootstock of the Vitis vinifera species. So Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Petit Verdot, and all the varietals that we're familiar with are from the Vitis vinifera species. So this aphid was having a hay. They were just loving the roots of the Vitis vinifera species, and the world almost got wiped out of wine, which was a serious catastrophe. So, to make a long story short, the Ministry of Agriculture of France, the Ministry of Agriculture of the United States got together and thought, and really put their brains together and thought, what are we going to do? They realized that the indigenous varietals to North America, Vitis riparia, Vitis labrusca, those varietals, the rootstock was not liked by the aphid, Phylloxera. So what they ended up doing was grafting the Vitis vinifera plants into the rootstock of the Vitis riparia and Vitis labrusca. So today we enjoy, and Bordeaux has been truly one of the best wine regions in the world to produce some of the best red wines in the planet. Also, on the side of white, you may be familiar with Sauvignon Blanc. Well, that is where also it originated. And also another great white varietal that thrives in Bordeaux is Semillon, or Semillon. So I mentioned before left bank, right bank. Left bank is where the big names of the 5 first growths of the best, technically, red wines, or 5 of the best wines in the world come from Chateau Latour, Chateau Lafite, Chateau Margaux, Chateau Haut-Brion, and Chateau Latour. Those are technically some of the most sought after and most expensive red wines that are based with Cabernet Sauvignon and are blended with Merlot, bit of Merlot, and a little bit of Cabernet Franc. So that, in a nutshell, is the left bank. The left bank technically is named the left bank on the left side of the Gironde River. On the right of that Gironde River, you have the Entre-deux-Mers region, and of course, other regions in the further north, like Saint-Emilion, Pomerol, Fronsac, and a couple of others that are not as famous. On that right bank, the grape that thrives is Merlot. So Entre-deux-Mers, you're going to see wines that are Bordeaux superior. They're generic wines, general wines. And in that region, technically, those are the entry-level, more affordable wines in Bordeaux. And here's an example of Chateau Ferrand. This is Bordeaux Superior, technically from the Entre-deux-Mers region. Going back to the right bank, there's many lovely appellations or subregions. This is Chateau Cantenac. This is specifically from the Medoc region. One of the top wines from the region, one of the 5 first growths is Chateau Margaux. And yes, this wine is on your list. This is a 2004 Premier Grand Cru. This is behind the classification of 1855. In 1855, the experts of the region went to all the wineries across the left bank of Bordeaux and gave them classifications from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th growth. Some of them didn't even make it. Those became the 5 top tiers. Grand Cru Classé, of course, first growth, became the god of the wines. Today, I could say that Bordeaux is probably one of the regions that can age wine longer than most because of the tannic structure, because of the soils. They make really bold, big wines. This is an example of a bottle of, this is actually a magnum of Chateau Vigne Latour. This is a 1966 bottle, and I had the honor of drinking just a little bit. Somebody left me because this is actually the year I was born. On the right bank, we have a good representation of this wine right here, the Chateau Montlis, which is a Saint-Emilion Grand Cru wine. So the classification on the right bank is very different than the left bank, a little more complicated, so I'm going to leave that aside, but it's not the same as the classification on the left bank. But these wines right on the right bank will use mostly Merlot. As a matter of fact, Chateau Pertu is one of the most expensive wines in the world. It is 99% Merlot. In here, we also have a lovely wine from the Pomerol region, another great region in the right bank, very close to Saint-Emilion. And in here, we have a bottle of 1998 Domaine de Viode. This is a Lalande de Pomerol, also on the right bank, mostly Merlot. It was a pleasure, and I hope to see you again soon.